Hey weirdos, welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I know this video has been requested and requested and requested, and finally I have it available for you. This is how I do my tip application and my overlay for if I'm using peel base and then dipping over it. And this is going to be with dip powder. This is not with builder gel. I've had a lot of you guys ask me recently if I broke up with builder gel. No, I did not break up with builder gel. I like to experiment with different stuff and see, because, you know, different products work differently for different people, right? So I just wanted to see how the dip powder would wear in comparison to the builder gel. And if I have to be honest, which I always will be, I prefer the dip powder to the builder gel. For a few reasons. One, I find the acrylic just holds much longer on my nails. I did just, by the way, file my free edge so they're nice and short, and I'm going to do my cuticle area with my diamond ball bit. Anyway, acrylic for some reason just holds better on my natural nail. Some people have better luck with gel. Some people have better luck with acrylic or dip powder. I'm a dip girl, so I'm going to show you how I do this with dip powder. I will leave a video either in the cards or in the description box for how I do builder gel over my natural nail, so you can go check that out if you're a gel kind of girl. But we're going to do dip powder today. So again, I am just going over my cuticle area, getting rid of any dead cuticle that might be on the nail plate, because if you don't do this, you have a good chance of lifting, and that can cause a whole menagerie of problems in addition to just not looking great after a couple of days. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. My drill bit speed right now is about 8,000 RPM. I am not applying pressure. I'm letting the drill bit do all the work for me. This is super gentle, doesn't cause, you know, the rings of fire as they call them. It's not going to damage my natural nail plate. Once I have that all done, I'm going to take my 150 grit file, and in the gentlest way possible, I'm going to rough up my nail, because I want these to last as long as possible. And every type of overlay you do, whether it's acrylic or gel or builder gel or whatever, does require a textured surface to really best adhere to. So I'm going to rough up my nail ever so slightly. And I know that there's a little controversy about how to do this appropriately. I have found that using a buffing block actually smooths the nail, which can, I don't know, prevent that really good grip and adhesion. So I would advise you not use a buffer. You want to use a file. Some people would advise to use a 180. I have heard recently some people advise to use a 100, which I can't even fathom. I feel like that's way too harsh for a natural nail. I like my 150, just enough rough. You're taking off the shine and creating little bitty grooves for the product to adhere to. So once I have that all done, I'm going to cleanse my nail. I like using my Young Nail Swipe solution. This is a dehydrator slash tacky layer of gel cleaner offer. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I will be using gel top coat later, so you'll see me use it yet again. I'm going to go ahead and get my tips ready to go. This is crucial. You want to make sure that the sizes fit your nails appropriately, because if they don't, that could also lead to lifting, popping, and off, and all sorts of weird stuff. This is the iGel Beauty Medium Pink. That's what I'm going to use for my overlay. That's what I've been using for what feels like forever, and I am in love with. I adhere my tips with dip base. I've had this question so many times. I use dip base. Dip base essentially is glue. It is resin, so it's the same thing as using nail glue. If you don't have dip base, if you're a gel person, you can absolutely use gel to adhere your tips if you wanted to, or you could use actual nail glue. I'm using my base, as you can see. I'm just using triple vitamin because that's what I had next to me. I haven't used triple vitamin liquids in a while since I've fallen in love with Sparkle & Co., but I still have some, so I'm like, might as well use them, right? So now that I've gotten all my tips on, I'm going to go ahead and clip them. I'm just going to clip them a little bit longer than I actually want them, because after I clip, I'm going to go ahead and do my filing and shaping. One thing that I do want to mention when you're doing your filing and shaping on your natural nails, not your natural nails, your extensions. So when you apply dip powder over your, whether it's your natural nail or an extension or an overlay or whatever you're putting your dip powder on top of, it's going to make your nail shape look slightly wider because you're adding product on top of it. You're creating a little bit of bulk. So I like to, I don't want to say exaggerate my shape slightly, but I do want to over file my sidewalls a little bit. Not my sidewalls per se, like the side hanging off the free edge. I like to keep that a little bit more narrow than I normally would like, because once you add that tip over top, it's not going to be as like wide as you know, because you don't want it super wide. That's going to flare out like kind of like duck nails, but also it's going to give you less filing to do later. So that's what you're going to see me do right now. I'm only going to show you one nail because you don't need to watch it 5 times. I'm going to show you how I do my sidewalls, the underside, the free edge, and then I'm going to buff over with the file, not buffing, I'm filing, file over where the tip meets my natural nail, just to get rid of the shine on that, because product will not adhere to that either. I'm pinching my nail in slightly. This just creates that nice C curve that's super attractive on a nail. You do not have to do this, optional step. I like to, just because I feel like it gives me a more feminine shape to my nail, but you don't want to pinch, don't pinch, and don't pinch too hard because you will crack the plastic. The nails are made out of plastic. I've done it before, and then you have to start from scratch all over again. So on with the filing. I'm going to let you guys watch, but I'm going to come back for the next step. So now that I've gotten the actual nail tips, the extensions, filed, shaped the way I like them, they're blended into my natural nail, and they have no shine, I'm going to cleanse them again with my swipe solution. You can use rubbing alcohol for this if you didn't have your swipe solution. And now we're going to start the dip application, which is the overlay. And for this, it will vary on the length of your nails. Mine are like active length. So I do my first dip in kind of like a triangle formation, and this will just further blend the tip in with my natural nail, because there is that little bitty dent in the middle, as you can see, and I want to make sure I don't have that. I want a nice natural curve to my nail. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my base, and I'm going to start kind of in the center of my nail, and I'm going to pull the product down, and then I'm going to go out and out. So it's like a little triangle V formation. I'm not touching my sidewalls. I don't want to create bulk there. And I'm going to do that on all of my nails, brush off excess really well. You can use a stiff bristled brush with a color like this, especially with a color like this, I should say, because anything that's super sheer can potentially look speckly or bubbly. If you like that, I mean, you don't have to do this, but you know, like you would do the same thing with clear, I do the same thing with the sheer pink. Now that I've gotten that done, I'm going to go in for almost a full dip. I'm like a hairline away from the cuticle. This is my second tip. Again, because I am going to do peel base and dip over this, I don't want too much bulk around my cuticle or sidewall area. So that's dip number 2. I'm dusting off excess again. I'm going to brush off excess with my stiff bristle brush, and then I'm going to do one final dip, and that'll be my third dip, and that's going to be right up to the cuticle area. That way, when I put over my peel base and the dip powder I'm putting on top of it, it's not going to be super bulky. Is it going to be thicker than if you were putting dip over your natural nail? Yes, of course it is. And I know that some people really dislike that. I'm not a huge fan of the thick nails myself, but when I'm doing nails all the time, I like to make sure they're protected from any type of damage if I'm prying off peelies, or if I just don't have time to do a mani and I have to run around my house because I don't go anywhere. I don't want to have naked nails. So I like to protect my natural nails. That's why I do the overlay. If you come back on Thursday is going to be a complete 180 from this video. I'm going to show you removal and prep and mani with zero peel base. It's going to be all natural nail. So if you're into that, definitely come back on Thursday. So I did my final dip, brushed off excess. I'm going to scrub off excess now with my stiff bristly brush. Activate, file, and buff. I'm not going to show you filing and buffing because I have a video for you if you want to check that out. But filing is also super personal, whether you want to use a hand file, an e-file, whatever floats your boat, doesn't matter to me. I like a combination of the two. And no, I am not clear capping this mani. I would if I cared. If I was going to wear this like for weeks, I would clear cap it and, you know, do a better filing job. But because it's just an overlay and I'm dipping on top, I didn't really care about clear capping. I'm not concerned with filing off pigment like that. So now that everything is completed, I'm going to go ahead and activate. Again, like I said, I'm going to go ahead, file, and buff. That video will be either in the cards or in the description box. And this is essentially my overlay. I am going to do a gel top coat, and you don't have to do a gel top coat. You can do a dip powder top coat. You don't have to do any top coat if you don't want to. But here's why I like to top coat my overlay. Acrylic is porous. That means things can absorb into it, or can absorb stuff into it rather. So if you put peel off base coat on top of your acrylic overlay, there's a good chance the acrylic will absorb your peel base. As you can see, I injured myself filing. I'm sorry for the gore. It happens to all of us, doesn't it? Anyway, so if your acrylic absorbs your peel base, it will render it essentially useless. I'm going to pause what I'm saying, put a pin in that. I am putting primer over my nails. That will help my gel top coat to adhere. So since I don't want to use peel base and then have to soak off anyway, I like to seal in my acrylic so it's no longer porous, and I do that with a top coat. I just find it makes the removal of your peel base and your dip, on top of it much easier. I had struggle city when I was trying to pry off peelies over just plain acrylic, and I would do this honestly for builder gel as well. Always want to put a top coat on. Over time, you'll probably wind up buffing it off, but you can always reapply it. And if you guys are curious as to how to do a backfill on an overlay like this, I'm going to leave either in the cards or in the description box my, what did I do? Dip powder problems video that I did. I wound up having to fix the nail. I took a chunk of my overlay off and I had to infill it, and that's exactly the same way I would do a backfill for this overlay. So I'm going to leave that for you guys to check out in case you want to see it. I will also leave you my fill-in video for builder gel. Matter of factly, I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not. I didn't know up until somewhat recently. You can do a fill-in on acrylic with builder gel. You can use the two products together. And you can also do a gel fill-in with acrylic. So you can mix and match as much as you feel like you want to. Essentially, it's all the same thing. It's just a matter of how it's broken up and put back together again, but it's all essentially the same thing. So with that, as you can see, I'm going with my gel top coat. I'm using my Young Nails Ultimate Top Gel, I think, Finish Gel, maybe, gel something. I'll leave it in the box for you guys. I rarely know what products I'm using. I'm just grabbing stuff at this point. This is my favorite gel top coat. It does contain HEMA, so if you have a HEMA sensitivity or a HEMA allergy, I would stay away from this one. Most primers, I don't know if you guys know this either, most primers actually contain HEMA as well. The Young Nails Protein Bond and the Mia Secret Extra Bond both do contain HEMA, so stay away if you are HEMA sensitive. These are the finished overlaid nails. I hope you guys learned something or took something away or enjoyed in some way, shape, or form. If you did, give me a thumbs up so I know you liked it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. Love you. Bye.